Good morning or good afternoon to the members of PALPRAC. My name is Jamie, and throughout this presentation, I'll be taking you through Group 3's pitch for our campaign strategy and execution. Allow me to introduce you to our team. Louis, myself, Sam, Jordan, and Eldeline. Throughout this presentation, we'll be discussing the following contents: the brief, the research we've done, the insights we derived from our research, as well as our target market strategy and campaign rollout. Starting with the brief. We were given an open brief to develop a strategy in order to communicate to our designated target audience, this being the public. This would involve brand awareness, the provided service, as well as the benefits of palliative care. Through conducting primary and secondary research, our group gained a better understanding of the topic and how we needed to communicate this task at hand. Our primary research. For our first piece of primary research, we created a set of 3 Instagram stories explaining to the viewers what palliative care is and what it entails. We then informed them that we were a group of students conducting research for a creative campaign regarding this topic. Participants were asked to share any experiences that they might have encountered, whether it was personal, a family member, or a friend. Ensuring that all information would be kept confidential, a response from a medical student from the University of Cape Town was recorded regarding her current studies on pediatric palliative care. She provided us with an in-depth presentation communicating how important the care of an ill child is. This is the first set of stories posted to gain a better understanding of the public's view on the topic. We asked them to share their experiences as well as their thoughts. Subsequently, we created an anonymous survey to gain the public's perspective on palliative care as well as their knowledge on the topic. From analyzing the first survey and using the knowledge given by the above-mentioned medical student, we created a second anonymous survey that focused on pediatric palliative care. The goal was to gain the public's view on the topic. Additional interviews were conducted with people who had ill members within their families. This is the second set of Instagram stories posted to guide our user to our survey links in order to fill out our surveys. As for our secondary research, we used the knowledge we gained from our primary research and conducted secondary research which involved the foundation of what palliative care is, as well as the benefits of the service. Following this, we addressed the topic of ethics within the service, as well as some principles to consider when applying for and experiencing this type of care. To develop the findings from the primary research, additional research was done on patient recovery in different environments and locations. This allowed for an in-depth study of various phobias, such as nosocomophobia, the fear of doctors and hospitals, as well as first-hand stories of palliative care experiences. I'll now present our key findings from our research, starting with our primary research. Regarding the first survey, we obtained the following insights. 74.6% of participants preferred their recovery to take place at their own home as opposed to a hospital, a private medical center, or a family member's home. Nearly 90% of respondents would consider applying for pediatric palliative care if their child had to fall ill. This emphasizes the need and the trust in the service. Regarding the previous insight, respondents added additional comments based off their answers, which state their appreciation for additional help, extra support, and the strain relief on their family and friends. Regarding the second survey, we obtained the following insights. 61.1% of respondents were aware of what pediatric palliative care is. all respondents agreed that they would apply for a palliative caregiver if their child had to fall ill. 66.7% of respondents were unaware that pediatric palliative care also involves care for the family. This would mean that there is an unclear message of what palliative care entails, which we can then use to our advantage when concluding insights to create a campaign. 94.4% of respondents believed that the child would receive a better overall care at their own home with the help of a palliative caregiver. This statistic strengthened the theory that patients recover better at home. As for our secondary research findings, we understood that family members of patients who stayed at home felt that they could empathize more with their family member as well as build a stronger relationship. Children need to have a solid base of belonging, and home for a child would be that solid base. In a more basic sense, a child that battles with serious illness needs a sense of clarity in the space that they are treated. Being comfortable in your living space reduces stress and helps well-being. Symptom control is a priority for healthcare professionals, and this is much easier to do at home with the additional support structure. Finally, there are a lot of phobias revolving around the topic of being hospitalized. This, however, could be avoided if care is provided at home and could put the patient at ease. Concluding our key findings, we found that overall, the theme of being comfortable and at ease at one's own home is evident within the primary and secondary research. The idea for a child to be cared for at home is desirable, as many families still need to juggle the responsibilities of caring for a child as well as their daily lives and jobs. Ultimately, parents of ill children need to be better informed about the possibilities and limitations of staying at home with the information readily available in doctors' offices, hospitals, and online. Our following target market involves our primary target market and secondary target market. Our primary target market includes parents, families, and guardians of ill children who wish to provide the best possible comfort for their child in terms of care within their home. Our secondary target market would include ill children below the age of 18 who wish to receive convenient care within the comfort of their home. Our strategy and concept. One of the many comforting aspects about palliative care is that care and support can be given from the convenience of your own home. By visually representing the atmosphere of care and comfort within a homely setting, the message of Palprac's home care qualities will be emphasized, as well as the caregiver's priority of happiness and quality. Our campaign would aim to communicate awareness surrounding the conversation around pediatric palliative care and the opportunity of accessing palliative caregiving service within your home. As for our core message, it would be having a palliative caregiver support ill children within their homes, along with their families, and this would ultimately create a more balanced sense of self. Which leads us to our campaign rollout. Home is where the heal is. Our target market is essentially families and their children. Bright, vivid colors were used in our campaign to strengthen the theme of youthfulness and play. This not only communicates a fun environment, but also eye-catching imagery to convey the theme of comfort and care. Our color palette contrasts with the dull pastel colors that are commonly found within hospitals. Our concept reflects one core message, and that's being cared for at home. We've decided to follow through with a simplistic illustrative look and feel in order to make sure our message doesn't get lost in its visual representation. We've also decided to use faceless characters. Using a face with no identification allows the viewer to place themselves in the character's body, and that is exactly what we want when the viewer interacts with our campaign. We want them to place themselves in the home scenario and let them consume the feeling of being at home. An effective campaign rollout needs to be placed in a highly visible location. One of the busiest locations within a hospital are elevators, as they are constantly used to travel between different floors. From this finding, we decided to execute our concept within the walls of the elevators, as the public are confined within a space where they are urged to take in their surroundings. A lounge scene was used in each design. The lounge acts as a communal space of gathering and where many family moments take place. Significant visuals of children and their toys are visible within each scene. Each design communicates a comfortable and cozy room scene where the viewer is placed as if they are inside of the room. As one enters the elevator, the strategy line is large and clear above the setting of a happy family. Home is where the heel is. This ultimately sets the tone for the expectations of the public before they step into the elevator. A brief description of PALPRAC, as well as the mission and objectives of the organization, are supplied on either the left or the right interiors of the elevator. Contact details are also provided, which would allow the public to continue any additional research that they would like to find. Finally, as the public is confined to a small space for a certain amount of time, they are supplied with the fundamental information to aid their understanding of our campaign. Overall, the purpose of placing the visuals in a children's hospital is to create awareness within the parents who are rushing to and from the hospital to their homes. They would then gain the understanding that they could have the option to have their child cared for at their home with the help of a pediatric palliative caregiver. Additionally, 2 mural designs were also included in our campaign. The designs would be displayed in a children's hospital waiting room. The waiting room acts as a place where patients, our target market, spend quite some time in. This would allow for the target market to read the information in their own time. The illustrative visual imagery also aids to the aesthetic of a children's hospital, creating the comfortable and caring look and feel. A tangible form of awareness is highly efficient when it comes to campaigns. People like receiving free things. We decided to introduce the handing out of PALPRAC fridge magnets. The design communicates our core message effectively, with the shape of the magnet being a shape of a house. Our campaign color palette was also incorporated within the magnets. The back of the magnets hold brief information about PALPRAC as well as necessary contact details. As for our Instagram stories, we thought it would be especially beneficial to the campaign's exposure to communicate information on a social media platform. Our Instagram story consists of 2 slides. The first slide contains a front door with a palliative caregiver in the foreground. The user will tap the screen and the next slide will appear, revealing the happy family setting. This provides a brief description of PALPRAC. The user also has the option to swipe up to visit the PALPRAC website for further information. Since our illustrations can be applied and be used either in segments or as a whole, the illustrations are easily adaptable to many different advertising mediums, such as billboards. The billboard aims to create brand awareness outside the setting of the hospital, as well as the bus stop displays. Overall, our campaign is very effective due to the high demand of pediatric palliative care, as families are constantly juggling the obstacles of their daily lives. Our campaign informs the viewer of the benefits when applying for pediatric palliative care within your home, and that PALPRAC is there to make sure that home is where the heal is. Thank you.